prophecy where if we refuse to take a look at ourselves and maybe consider the possibility that we can change, then we just create our reality reactively with no control over it, and it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know? I don't know, that's kind of psychobabble, but I think that
No, I
happens.
think it's true. And I think he's clearly lived vicariously through Rick for a number of years, and when Rick went, he had suddenly had the chance to not be the odd man out, to have a place of belonging. And he's infatuated with it. He's
That's
infatuated
right.
with the idea. He's infatuated with Laurie.
For a moment he was in heaven, yeah, there.
Yeah,
Even though
exactly.
he was kind of a jerk leader, and you could tell they probably didn't totally respect him, but they knew that he knew how to do a lot of things and he was calling the
Oh
shots, so
man.
they kind of went along with it, you know?
Well, him sitting at the head of that dinner table, eating Patricia's green beans and cussing, and
Yeah.
yeah, Dale's completely right when he says, he doesn't want Rick to come back or Herschel because he's got everything he wants here and no
Yeah.
one to tell him not to
But I mean,
take
even
it.
back at the quarry, it just
Yeah.
seemed like I don't think Shane could ever hold on to a situation like that for too long.
No.
He would fuck it up.
And I think I thought it was interesting that he says he should have left with Andrea when he had the chance.
Yeah, well, I'm just like,
He's not wrong. I
why
think he should
don't
have.
you, like, why didn't she say, oh, well, let's go? What's
He would
stopping
never
you?
leave when the baby's on the table.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that.
She does at that point.
She
Well, she knows
says,
Laurie's pregnant.
yeah, he says, yeah, maybe she's figured it out, huh? Because
Yeah.
it wasn't made explicit. You know, he says, I should have left with you when I had the chance. And from her point of view, unless she's figured it all out, if I was her, I'd be like, what do you mean? We can go now.
I think she has because I think she's a bit frosty towards him after Laurie reveals she's pregnant, and I think she knows the two of them were
Yeah.
hooking up. Um,
Yeah,
she's not
that's
dumb,
true.
Andrea. She acts like a bit of a pick
She's
me, but she's not dumb.
she's not super dumb, although she did say something dumb in this episode, which was when she's like, oh yeah, Lori told me to watch after Carl, and she said she was worried about Rick. And then they're like, oh, but did she go after him? Oh, she didn't say that.
She's like, IDK,
What did you
no.
think was going on?
Shrug. Oh my god. Carl's like, my mom, and we're like, oh boy.
All right, what else?
I could go on with Andrea. I thought her checking in on Maggie and Beth was interesting because I assume she's thinking about Amy. And her
Mm,
relationship with her sister. She's really relating to Maggie as an older sister.
hmm
I thought Lauren Cohen gave a really good performance in that scene. The story about Beth as a child and her impression of Emily Kinney batting her eyelashes at her dad was
yeah,
very good.
I thought it was a great performance, but I didn't quite know for sure what the point of the story was.
Yeah,
Was
I'm
it
still a bit
just,
out on
I
that
think
one,
it,
yeah.
because the story was that she came home from college, she went out riding, Beth went through her stuff, found birth control, got upset, threw it in the pond. Maggie saw her do that and screamed at her, and then Sean came out to figure out what's going on, found out what it was all about, laughed so loud that it spooked the horse, who got mud all over them, and then Herschel's like, what the hell is going on? And Beth said, oh, we're just swimming, Daddy. So she covered up for Maggie, even though she was upset. And
Yeah.
I guess it was like, why is it about birth control? But I think the point was just to talk about happier times with family, and now look where we all are, something like that. I don't know.
And I think it's about the age difference between the two of them as well. I think it's kind of
Mm,
highlighting that Maggie was grown up. And that's something that they really
hmm
focused in on with Andrea and Amy, was that there was a big age difference between the two of them as well. So I wonder if it's just to
Oh yeah.
highlight the idea that Beth is like the baby. Um,
Yep, makes sense.
but it's cute. It's really cute.
Hmm
And I think Andrea, I don't know, she bugged me in the rest of the episode. She's bickering with Dale about Shane. Um, she is being a bit of a pick me with Shane and kind of sucking up to him about Randall, like, yeah, like Rick's so dumb. But she does make some good points about Shane's presentation.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, I thought the moments with her and the Greens were really nice. But as you say, we know that they're going to take a turn when she essentially enables Beth to be able to hurt herself quite badly, which is not a cool move. And she kind of frames it as some sort of philosophical thing, which it isn't
Yeah,
really. It's just irresponsible.
I think so. I mean, we'll examine it. I haven't watched ahead, so I haven't seen it in 14 years or whatever, but I remember, I think some listeners were on her side because they want, if you decide you want to take your life, you should be able to do it. And I think there is some truth to that, but I know we'll talk about it when we get to it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I forgot to mention too when about Shane when Rick and Lori in the tent and Lori says he thinks the baby's his but no matter what, it's yours. I think she means even if Shane's the biological father, I want to be with you and I want you to raise the baby.
Yeah, that's how I read.
Saying, right?
That's how I read it. Yeah.
Okay. I had a point about soap opera stuff.
Do it.
I feel like this show, it felt more soapy to me in early seasons. And I think that is because of a lack of more traditional antagonist, and B, Darabont's style of stretching out this story over many episodes. So they have to come up with drama for it. But, so Dale doesn't want Andrea to be with Shane. Andrea doesn't want Shane to be with Lori. Shane doesn't want Lori with Rick. And it's just like, feels like soap stuff to me, all that.
Oh yeah.
And especially Shane obsessing so much over Lori. Like, you told Rick, did you tell him it was a mistake? And he's all upset. He's so upset. And I'm like, what? This is your best friend. And it's like, I don't know. I guess the interesting part is that he doesn't believe Rick can keep her safe. So that's one reason to keep him on this, rather than just letting go of it. Because if he feels like, okay, I love her, but she's with my best friend, so I should just let it go. But if I do, then he won't be able to keep her safe. So I guess that's what he's really spitting out on. And plus, yeah, because it's the baby is probably his, which is a very soap opera thing to do.
So soap opera.
The whole thing about Glenn having a hard time with the idea of being in a relationship and having someone else be connected to him, and what all the weight that comes with that or whatever. It's very hand-wringy, I think.
Yeah.
And Daryl having a hard time dealing on some level felt a little bit soapy to me. I was like, everybody's having so much angst, and I was trying to figure out who is dealing with this the best. And the two names I came up with are T-Dog, but we just don't see him that much. So maybe he's back in his tent just going, oh my God.
Journaling.
Yeah, journaling.
Today was really hard.
Anybody
like talking to
Sophia's
doll. Like, I'm so glad you're here, Sophia. Like,
but I think Andrea right now is one of the ones that's maybe dealing with it the best. I mean, yeah, she has this attraction to Shane, but I don't know. She's cool-headed.
She's kind of gone through her trauma, hasn't she? She's lost the thing that she was most scared of losing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough about that. What do you got? Anything else?
I do. The confrontation between Shane and Laurie is really catalyzed by him lying about Rick being home, and him spilling about the baby, which I do sometimes wonder if it was deliberate on his part to let that out in front of the whole group. I did laugh at the interlude where Laurie is sitting with Andrea and Dale, and realizes that they didn't give Carl the sex talk, and Dale's just like, nope, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, I just thought I would watch a mini-sode of Dale trying to give Carl the sex talk. I think that would be hilarious.
I looked up because I have two sons, and one is 7 and the other one is 12, and I can't remember when I talked to Nico, the 12-year-old, about it, but I asked ChatGPT, when do people usually have the sex talk, basically, and they said, well, experts say around 8 to 10 years old. So
okay,
depending on maturity level. And I think Carl's supposed to be like 10, right? Or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I think there was a couple of things about that scene that kind of made me laugh. One was when he said, can we name her Sophia? I'm like, oh God, no. What terrible, terrible name. Don't do that. It's cute that he's excited about being a big brother, but I found Shane at the door kind of creepy. Andrea's clearly pissed at Shane. She's like, maybe let Laurie have some rest. But then he and Laurie obviously get into this conversation that we've already discussed. But a couple of other things happen in that conversation where she reveals that Rick knows about the baby, which really taps into Shane's shame Shane
I,
knows.
you know what I think though is that actually what he was upset about is she said I told him she meant about their relationship.
Yeah.
She told him we had an affair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then when Shane says, "Did you think it, or did you say it was a mistake?" I think that meant the two of them, being together was a mistake.
She also brings up Otis, which he admits essentially to what he did there, which is quite a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a pretty hard scene between the two of them, but I don't know, I think Laurie is in the right here. I think she is trying to do the right things.
Oh yeah. She's saying no, it wasn't right. It's not good between us. She's being very straightforward, which
Mhm.
she should have when he was about to leave and she said, "Don't leave, Shane." And she
Yeah,
didn't make it clear that it's because I want you here for Carl or whatever it was. And that was mixed signals. But now
yeah,
she's not sending mixed signals anymore, but it's too late.
it's too late. And what she says to Rick in that scene in the tent is true. Like, he's delusional, he's dangerous, he's scaring people, he's scaring me. I think he killed Otis. But she's really laying it on thick at this
Mm-hmm.
point. And when Rick talks about killing those guys, I've just written like Laurie gets the horn. She's like, "You killed the living to protect
Mm-hmm.
what's yours." And I'm like, oh, that's Laurie's kink. And then it kind of goes into some proper, as we said, Lady Macbeth whispering.
It's weird phrasing to say you killed the living, but I think that's because he had said before, we don't kill the living. And
Yeah.
so now he did, so that's why she said it that way, I think.
I think what also made me sad about the scene is I think this is the last time we'd really see Rick and Laurie happy. And I don't know that they are
Hmm.
happy, but that kind of easy intimacy of like,
Hmm.
we sound like old people. And
I
it's
love
sad
that.
because you realize they're not going to be old people together.
Yeah. We're
And
only going to see Rick get old.
yeah. And then I think after this point, I think it all becomes too fraught and too difficult. And by the time she passes away, they're barely speaking. Like, Rick's
That's
frozen her
the
out completely. That's horrible.
tragedy
It's
of it.
really hard. So I think
Yeah.
I was kind of wistful watching this, thinking, oh, this is one of the last times we'll see this. So yeah, it's a
Yeah, this
weird
is what
note.
this is what passes for an intimate moment between Rick and Laurie. You should kill Shane. Okay,
Yeah,
baby.
only in The Walking Dead is a happy, intimate moment. You should kill your best friend. Like, have you
That's
considered?
funny. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I don't know if they were ever a great couple. Maybe I'm wrong
No.
about that. I wonder if listeners agree or disagree about that.
I think they'd
But
been together too long. They'd been together
yeah,
from before they knew who they were.
yeah, I don't know. They seem like a couple that has a lot of problems,
Hmm.
and that doesn't necessarily mean a couple shouldn't be together. Every couple has some problems, but to me, he's a better match with Michonne. They lift each other up.
Yeah, 100%. They get each other.
Yeah.
They get the kind of values that the other has, and I think that's so important.
Absolutely. Okay. I only had one more quick one. It's poor Carl, because when Carol tells the others that Lori went into town after talking to Daryl, she tells everybody else Lori went into town after Rick, and Carl's super distraught. And I'm like, of course, both your parents left. They
I
didn't
know.
even. And then,
Oh,
and Lori should have talked to the group about that decision. Maybe somebody else would have volunteered. And then Shane takes off in the Hyundai, and Carl's watching, and it's like all his parental figures are leaving.
I know.
And then,
Everyone.
and then later Lori apologizes to Carl. "I'm sorry I left without telling you." I'm like, well, great, you're sorry, but what's your excuse? Like, I'm sorry, but I'm, get ready for that to happen again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Carl, this is going to happen a lot. Bear with me just 1 second.
Right. And then they're all critical of Carl for leaving all the time, but it's like, well, I learned it from watching you, Mom.
Exactly. It's like learned behaviors. Children imitate what they are modeled,
That's
Laurie.
so
Like,
funny. I never thought
why
about that
won't he
before.
stay in the house? I wonder why. Like, yeah.
Right, exactly. Okay, notes.
Um, Maggie being upset about Herschel drinking. I can relate to that. It's really
He should have
hard.
apologized, I
He
felt
should have
like.
apologized. She was
Yeah.
really cut up about it, and I felt really bad for her in that moment, especially when she said, "You left and I didn't know what to do." I was like, Maggie's
And
so
he's just
young.
silent.
Yeah, and she's so young here. Like, she's what, early 20s, and I don't know. I really it made me sad.
Yeah. I'm sorry you
Um
can relate to that. That's no fun. I
I
can relate
did
to.
I did love that Herschel, like, Maggie Kim's running up with this big smile on her face, and Herschel's like, yeah, and it's like, oh no, she's running to Glenn. Okay. I was like, that's what you get. And I'd forgotten that in these seasons, The Walking Dead credits read as the dead walking, like it flashes up the dead walking. And I'm like, oh yeah. I
Yeah.
always used to like that about
It's
this
like
show.
don't open dead inside.
Yeah, don't open dead
Or
inside.
don't dead open inside.
Don't dead open inside. And those are my notes, I think.
Okay, we covered most of mine. Just had a couple. That one is that poor Emily Kinney just had to lay there with her eyes wide open and do nothing.
I know.
And I'm like, would her eyes really just be open? Like, not blinking is not good for you.
No, you can get hella dry, girl.
And then last, I don't know if this is totally related, but for some reason I was thinking about how early Walking Dead had seasonal locations more or less. So season 1 was the camp at the quarry in Atlanta. Season 2 is Herschel's farm. Season 3 and the first half of 4 are the prison. And then I think the second half of 4 and the first half of 5, they're just on the move.
Yeah.
And I remember digging it when they were on the road, but a lot of listeners were like, they need to find another place. And they were like anxious for that. And I'm like, because I'm a comic reader, I know once they get to Alexandria, that's it. From then on out, you better hope you like Alexandria, because that's going to be it.
That's your lot.
So, and then only on The Walking Dead can you shatter your leg bone and then just walk it off after a couple weeks.
Yeah, a little bit of surgery from your local vet. You'll be fine.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens.
The people it kills get up and kill.
Are they slow-moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is a Walking Deadcast news update.
So just a few things. First, I want to say I've been watching X-Men 97 on Disney Plus.
Oh,
I've always loved the X-Men. I didn't get into the 90s cartoon series, which this is a continuation of, but I binged it because it is fantastic. I'm loving it. It's really good, and it's getting a lot of praise. Like, this is the Marvel show we needed, even though it's animated. It's kind of it's really powerful. It's a bit melodramatic. This show is like a soap opera too, but it has Ross Marquand as Professor X, so it's
of course it does.
Walking Dead related.
He's such a good voice actor.
Yeah. So that's that for that. I wish I could do a podcast about it, actually, but I don't have time. Actor Kim Coates, who played Tig, if you watch Sons of Anarchy, which I didn't, is, I guess, going to be the lead bad guy in Dead City Season 2. And he was on I know there's a lot of Sons of Anarchy fans out there. He was on a podcast with Sons of Anarchy co-creator Kurt Sutter and actress Katie Seagal, and he said Dead City will be 8 episodes instead of 6. Dead City Season 2.
Interesting. Okay.
And last, at a recent fan event of some kind or another, someone asked JDM if there's any chance of him meeting up with his Supernatural co-star Jensen Ackles in the Walking Dead universe. And he said, quote, yeah, that would just be phenomenal to see. Yeah, funny enough, we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago about it. I think so. I mean, I'd love to have him. He would love to come and do it. Sometimes our schedules won't quite work out the way we want them to. We'd love it to happen. I'll tell you that. So it's not that it's going to, but maybe. I know I never watched Supernatural, but I know there's a lot of Supernatural fans out there too.
I think Lauren Cohen had a guest spot on it at some point as well. Yeah. Way back at the start, I think.
Yeah. And I think people did not like her character at all. That's what I remember. I'm like, how could you not like Lauren Cohan? But it could be a shitty character. Who knows?
It's true. It's true.
All right. That's it for the news. Let's get on to listener moans, groans, and grunts.
Lucy Tirado says, just stay in the house, Laurie.
She picked up on that Carl thing too.
Yep.
Nathan Eshelman said Glenn was able to avoid being shot at the bar by taking cover near a dumpster. If only he knew how this trick would come in handy several seasons later. He learned
Dumpster
something.
smarts. Jacob Decker says Herschel with the save on Glenn is very badass. Also much needed. That chemistry between the actors in the first 6 seasons is so good, really underestimated. People will not give The Walking Dead its flowers like it deserves, like this platform. Thank you all. Thanks, Jacob.
Well, when you say give it its flowers, it's my first thought is you want to kill it.
I know. I'm like, don't look at them, Jacob, whatever you do.
I don't think that's what he meant. Thanks, Jacob. Okay, Billy Thompson says, hello, Jason and Lucy. It's Bill from England. Such a good episode this week. I think this is a real turning point in the series with the characters. I think Shane lying to Lori to get her back to the farm was probably on par with the decision to kill Otis. Well, he also lied to her about Rick being for sure dead in the... So he's a liar. You cannot trust him.
He's a lying liar who lies.
He says the decision to kill Otis, if that was the only way to save Carl. I definitely don't mind Shane as much this time around, although some decisions are awful. Some are absolutely the right ones. And I'm happy they chose to keep the character on for another season and not follow the comics. Me too. Absolutely. This is the episode that does it with Lori for me. Asking Shane to stay and then trying to coerce Rick into killing him a few episodes later just seems silly. That's one
It's
more
wild.
for it. Loving the rewatch gets me through my shifts at work, so thank you both. Love you guys. Thanks, Bill.
Oh, thanks, Bill. Andy Fisher says, Dear JNL, thank you again for walking us through my favorite television show ever. I like this episode a lot. Emotion, conflict, characters with different thoughts and ideas, debating, arguing, pushing to be heard, understood, and loved. The Randall subplot is pretty asinine. Conflict number 1, Daryl versus Carol. There's a psychological term called a crazy eight. In a nutshell, the crazy eight pattern is when you try to get out of depression by getting angry. Daryl is doing this over his sadness and grief about the death of Sophia. It's heartbreaking to see him turn on Carol, but she's wise enough to see what he's doing and she loves him through it. Conflict number 2, Shane versus Rick. This conflict was a little dragged out over the 2 seasons, but it's so well written here. I can see both points of view, and so emotional because both characters feel their very survival is at stake. Toss in the love triangle and Shane's craziness. Stir. Wow. Yeah. Good points all,
Well
Andy.
said, Andy.
You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
very good.
Yeah.
Yep. Jody Langridge says, I feel like this is the episode that made Herschel wake up and realize what the world is really like now and how much he needs Rick. Interesting. That head nods towards Rick to say, yes, you did the right thing by eliminating that threat.
Yes. Important moment.
Their time in the bar was almost like they attended a team bonding escape room. That's intense.
Excellent.
They should model a real one after that.
Oh my God, that would be so funny.
This may be the first episode that Herschel refers to the undead as walkers, so he is on board now. Another good point. I already love his scenes with Glenn telling him to try for the car, and he will try and succeed. Reminds me of all their conversations to come that I love. When he tells him next season, you're like my own son, Glenn, makes me cry every time. In my opinion, when that dude from the other group drove off and left his injured friend behind, it tells us everything we need to know about them. We don't leave people behind. Oh, hang on. Unless it's Andrea. Yeah, we might end up leaving Andrea behind. That's a good point. Yeah. Is it weird that scene with Randall makes me laugh now? Rick is
It's
almost
hilarious.
too excited about hacking off a leg. He's all, is that hatchet still in the car? Rubbing his hands together. I had it. Then pulls out a knife as big as a nail file. That's got to be deliberate. It's like his pocket knife. Will this cut through the bone? Calm yourself, Rick. You get your chance next season to do some leg hatchet hacking.
Doesn't he just?
Lori should have used that hubcap to finish off that walker, not wasted a bullet. And to quote future Rick, we might have needed that one later. Oh, come on. You can't be serious about that. you got to use the gun, not the hubcap. It's funny, though. I rolled my eyes when Shane just plonks himself at the head of the dinner table like he is in charge, even though Herschel basically kicked him out in the last episode. I loved it when Herschel gave him a telling off later on after Shane was being a dick and mouthing off. Me too. It was interesting that Shane didn't backchat him, never said a word in reply. Made me think that somewhere deep down Shane remembered he should have been more respectful. Then, of course, we end the episode with Olive Oil whispering negativity in Rick's ear like the devil. Doesn't matter how many times I rewatch this shit. Never gets old. I love it.
Oh, Jody. I love
awesome.
that. Rachel Teal Edwards says, this rewatch is so fun. I'm enjoying parts of the show and characters in ways that I haven't before. This love triangle, for example, I 100% don't blame Shane for lying to Laurie, but when he talks to her later, he's gone full psycho, totally delusional. He tells Laurie he loves her, that it was real, and he actually says it was a long time coming.
Oh my God, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he does. Rachel says, I can't believe I haven't heard that in my other rewatches. Can we assume that this is proof he was totally biding his time before the apocalypse, dreaming of a life with Laurie?
Yes.
So either he was delusional then too, or there was some chemistry between them that Laurie probably played into a little when she was pissed at Rick.
Wouldn't
I
be
can see both
surprised.
of those.
Speculation, but yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Can we also talk about Laurie's little speech to Rick at the end? She says, you killed the living to protect what's yours. Shane thinks I'm his. He thinks the baby's his. And he says you can't protect us, that you're going to get us killed. He's dangerous, Rick, and he won't stop. She might as well send them out to the field and tell them to duel over her. What is Rick supposed to do with this information other than bide his time, knowing that he will eventually have to protect what's his from Shane? Even though Laurie is totally right about Shane, this speech combined with her eventual over-the-top reaction to Rick confiding in her that he killed Shane makes me loathe her even more. But we'll get there. And Daryl, sweet Daryl, in that intense moment with Carol, she sees him for what he is, essentially a child lashing out because he doesn't know how to handle his feelings. She lets him do so, knowing it's not really about her. I'm so excited to watch his evolution more closely, as well as Beth's, actually. So much more to come with those two. I can't wait. Well said, Rachel.
Well said. I think one thing, and I think Dina's got a letter coming up. I didn't read it, but I see Daryl. Oh, Daryl with those flashing blue eyes is how it starts. So I absolutely agree that Carol sees that Daryl's just going through something, but also Daryl, come on, you fucker. Don't be such a dick. Like, you know, you can, I mean, I guess, maybe you can excuse that behavior for when there's a really traumatic situation happening. But if that continued on, I would just say, I can't handle this anymore, dude. You can't be like that, or I'm not going to be around you. It's
not okay.
Yeah, it's not okay. That's what I'm trying to say. Karen Shee says, I love season 2 for establishing Daryl and Carol's bond, for making us understand exactly how Daryl's character operates through subtext. Long before Carol made Lizzie look at the flowers and saved everyone from Terminus, she displayed her strength by meeting Daryl with compassion and sympathy instead of piling on more guilt and shame. Whose heart didn't smile when Daryl showed up at the group meeting in the end? I didn't even notice, but I'm glad to hear it.
Jason's like, was he there?
I'm glad to hear he was there. Nobody's talking about Maggie's monologue. There was a range of emotions for Beth, Herschel, and Glenn all in one story about birth control pills. Ha! More great acting and subtext here. Tell us the subtext. I don't know what it was. This is how to build character without having to explicitly say, I'm so-and-so, I care about X, Y, and Z. I wouldn't be surprised if Lauren Cohan auditioned with this scene. It's so well written and rich. I'm not going to touch the Rick, Shane, Laurie triangle or why Glenn distances himself from Maggie. I'll leave that to you guys to untangle, and we'll be debating about Randall in later episodes. So thanks for the rewatching coverage. It's been a while since I last watched this episode. Oh, the camera work and direction was really good here. No, it was. Some neat long shots and transitions, lighting choices, and depth of field. Karen's a photographer, so she knows about that.
She knows her shit, huh?
Yep. Last thing, to Jason's point about Laurie's car accident and texting while driving, there was a report a few months ago on NPR and ABC that pedestrian fatalities have increased exponentially since 2009. The U.S. has more incidents than the U.K. for a variety of reasons, but one of them is because U.S. cars are mostly automatic transmissions versus the U.K.'s manual stick shifts. Auto transmissions enable folks to have a free hand and be distracted by their phones. Without going into spoilers, this was a slight question you guys had during You're the Ones Who Live coverage, right? And most of all, U.S. cars conveniently have 6 jugs of biofuel stored in their back seats too. Oh, wait, no, this is all Ones Who Live spoilers, which we won't go into. But that's fascinating and horrible to hear.
Yeah, I'd never thought about manual being...
Yeah, me neither.
An advantage like that, but yeah, I guess you do have to, like, I struggle driving automatics. I'm just so talented at driving, I can't drive an automatic. But yeah, easy. I tend to, if I'm driving on the other side of the road, so when I was in Canada or in Europe, mainland Europe, I'll drive an automatic because it's easier than having to do gears with my right hand. But here,
that is
can't
weird.
do it. It's fucking weird.
Because I can drive a stick shift, but yeah, when I'm in England, it's weird to have to shift with your other hand.
Yeah. It's so strange. It's like your brain's just like, no. Finally, we've got Dina in the emails saying, "Oh, Daryl with those flashing blue eyes. We all see through your bad behavior, and more importantly, Carol sees through it. Carol is a limp character through the first 2 seasons, but we've seen her evolution, and in hindsight, this moment is a huge step forward for her. Although she may see behind his anger, this is not a beautiful Carol and Daryl forever moment. It is terrifying. She is a traumatized, defenseless woman. He is pure danger. She can't be sure that this belligerent, verbally abusive man won't hit her, yet she refuses to cower. I was 40 when this show aired. I don't think Carol was much older. At the time, I didn't think too much about her. I was too busy nursing a newborn while watching The Walking Dead. Note to new mothers, watching zombies gnaw on body parts while the newborn gnaws on your breast is not a good bonding experience.
Oh my God.
Now I'm 53 and see Carol so differently. By the end of the series, Carol is menopausal. In Western culture, as women age, they can be overlooked, and while there are strong matriarchs on screen, they don't grow alongside you. A constant reminder to women of a certain age that we don't have to sink into the sofa and disappear. The Carol in Triggerfinger is not even close to the Grace O'Malley she becomes, but in this small moment, she decides her fate. She can't run, he'd catch her. She can't beg, it never stopped Ed. So she chooses to stand her ground. Lucky for us, we get to see all the small moments that make her stronger, and hopefully we'll start noticing our own small moments that could make us stronger. My now 13-year-old watched Triggerfinger with me. She does not recall her earlier experience with the show, but she does tend to root for the Zeds. Her only comment about this episode: Maggie is a horrible sister. Instead of yammering on about some stupid memory, why doesn't she get Beth some eye drops? Yours from the sofa, Dina and Rowan.
Oh,
Thanks,
that was
Dina.
amazing,
That's a
Dina.
great letter.
God, we're not worthy of your letters.
I know. You're so good.
Very cool. All right. 2 calls. Here's Colin.
Oh, Colin.
Hey, y'all. Sorry I missed the party. Yeah, Nebraska's a great episode. You guys covered that this week. I hear Nebraska's nice. It ain't. It ain't. I've been there a lot. I've spent years over there. I live 15 miles from there.
Oh.
It's not. There's nothing there besides the old market in Omaha. Anyway.
Okay.
I rewatched the episode tonight. I forgot that Glenn doesn't kill anybody for a while. Herschel kind of took over.
He did kill someone.
I know how to shoot. I just don't like to. Rick really steps up as a leader in this episode. I really fucking love it. I think I've only watched this episode twice before this rewatch, and it's definitely a really good build up to 18 Miles Out that you guys will be covering next week. That's probably my all-time favorite episode in the first half of the series. But yeah, Shane accidentally telling everybody that Lori's pregnant. He has a right to be worried about that because, I mean, as a man who was kind of, you know, like a father figure to Carl for a few months while Rick was in the hospital, assumed dead. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, I have 2 kids. One of them is mine and the other one is my girlfriend's. And I feel very likewise with that. I mean, you always feel the need to protect your children. And, yeah, it was nice that he apologized. Lori apologized. And then Shane goes into his whole tirade about, I love you, Lori. Whatever. I still can't see him as anything besides Frank Castle. It's weird. If this episode would have been 2 seasons later, they would have left Randall there with a bullet in his head.
Yeah.
Funny how things change. Back in the day, when the episode first came out, I found out that the actor that plays Randall and John Bernthal acted in a play together.
Oh, no
Can't
way.
remember what play.
That's cool.
So that's been 12, 13 years ago. But it's really, there's a lot of foreshadowing in this episode. Like shooting Tony in the head after he'd already shot him in the chest. Or belly, I can't remember.
Shit.
That you have to shoot him in the head
Yeah,
because
why did
everybody's
they
infected.
Even think to
And
do
then Glenn just can't stay away from the fucking dumpsters. Oh my god. Anyway, I love this episode. It was definitely a classic. Anyway, love y'all. Talk to you next week.
Oh, yeah. Actually,
Thanks,
that's a great
Colin.
point because Rick's the only one of the group who knows that everyone's infected, and he's the one who shot Tony in the head.
I had a note to self of like, did they both get shot in the head? I couldn't remember. And Colin's call just reminded me there that I'd been wondering about that. And yeah, that makes total sense. Because I did think when Rick was shooting Tony, I was like, God, that was a lot of bullets. But yeah,
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
And they didn't. You would think Glenn would be like, "Why'd you do that? He's dead."
Yeah. Trigger finger much.
Because we're all going to turn into zombies no matter what.
Yep.
He mentioned, Shane, he understands him. I forget exactly what Colin was saying, but about being concerned about the baby because you want to protect your children. And my first instinct was, yeah, but it's not his, even if it is his. But I'm thinking if I was Shane and, I thought Rick was probably dead and I had an affair with Lori and she was pregnant with what was probably my baby. Even if I thought, okay, it's back with Rick now, it's not, I'm not going to be with Lori. I would still probably want for it to be known that it was my baby and to have some kind of a presence there,
Yeah, that's understandable.
All right, one more call and then we're done. Here's Alex Kruger.
Hey all, Alex Kruger leaving feedback for Walking Dead Revisited Triggerfinger. Just a real quick aside in reference to last week's show. It's interesting that a comparison was made between Tony and Gareth, because in the TV show Once Upon a Time, the actor that plays Tony is technically Gareth's dad once the final season sees a time jump and young Henry becomes an adult. It's not important, but I thought it was interesting.
I think he means Dave, the guy who...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I like that this episode immediately follows up on both of last week's hanging threads. So the barroom shooting and Lori's crash. Say what you will about Lori's decision making, but the way she dispatched those two walkers proves she has a good amount of fight in her. I guess you could say she has a little ass kicker in her. Sorry, couldn't help myself. Speaking of Lady Grimes Macbeth, I don't really blame her for being furious at Shane's blatant lies to get her back, but at the same time, I understand why Shane lied to her. She shouldn't be the one looking for Rick. Between being pregnant and possibly concussed, she needed to go back, and I guess she wasn't going to listen to reason. But man, Shane really can't help himself from proving every reason why she really can't trust him. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost positive Lori still gives Shane mixed signals, at least once more before the end of season 2. So while I'm cool with her essentially telling Rick to kill Shane, she really hasn't made up her mind, it feels like.
No.
As for the shootout with Dave and Tony's friends, was anyone else worried that Herschel was maybe too drunk to fire a gun? I always was concerned about that.
That's a good point.
It was nice to see more than a few stray zombies again. Between the zombie in the windshield with Lori and the feast on the fallen foe, faces did not fare well this episode. Gotta love the start of the Randall dilemma in this episode, mercy versus protection. I feel those two options are something Rick works on for the rest of the series, and maybe it's because of hindsight or what's revealed in 22 Miles Out, but I hate having to agree with Shane on this one. He potentially knows too much. Anyone else notice Maggie ran right past her dad, the person they were worried, searching for, to get to Glenn? It was nice to see Glenn take that level up in this episode, and I feel like this might be the moment where he starts to shed his boyish charm and naivety and starts to mature into the exceptionally capable and responsible man we all know and love. Before I sign off, I'd really love to just thank you both for your very, very kind words last episode. But that's it for me. As always, keep up the great work.
Thanks, Alex.
Oh, thanks, Alex.
He reminded me, talking about Randall, of the guy with the orange backpack who they just
that
by.
poor sucker. Yeah.
Alex, we kept mentioning that his voice sounds like he's a professional, and he mentioned he started a podcast, so we asked him about it, and he let me know that it's called Quit Chasing a Philadelphia Phillies Podcast, which is about, it's a sports podcast, and you can find it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and probably everywhere else, just so you guys know if you want to hear more of Alex.
Excellent.
All right, that is our show, episode 580. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Next episode, The Walking Dead Season 2, episode 10, 18 Miles Out, and Rennie is going to be guesting with us on that one.
We're so excited. If you want to write in or leave us a voice message about it, you can find all our contact information at podcastica.com.
While you're there, please check out our other podcasts. I know that I think they just published the Shogun podcast. So that's
Excellent.
on House Podcastica. And we're going to be recording on Yellow Jackets WTF this weekend on the Lord of the Flies, the novel.
Ooh,
So
that's cool.
Hurry up and finish reading it.
Yeah, you have to read it.
This episode is made possible by Patreon supporters like Troy Campbell, who've pledged their support at patreon.com/Jason Kabassi. So thank you to Troy. He gets ad-free early access. We tend to publish these a couple days earlier on Patreon, and then they come out on Tuesday for everybody else.